this month's Q&A, and once again, you guys did not disappoint. So great questions, and for me, what's exciting is to watch you guys learn, grow, and come back with these questions, because that's what it's all about. You go out there, you implement, and then you're going to have 10 more questions. Implement, 10 more questions. So I like it. All right, let's keep going. First question comes to us from Dylan. How do I charge accordingly to my level of skill? Dylan, that's $1 million question, brother. What is your skill? None of us are ever confident enough. Isn't that the truth? And so at the end of the day, you're worth whatever someone's willing to pay for you. Do you remember Beanie Babies? I don't know if I'm showing my age here, but do you remember Beanie Babies or Cabbage Patch Kids? It doesn't matter. Every generation has had their level of collectibles. And it's always funny because people start paying ridiculous amounts of money for the dumbest things on the planet. And it just proves the point. People are willing to pay for what they see value in. And what's funny to me is people are willing to pay $1,000 for a collectible Beanie Baby, but they're going to balk at paying thousands of dollars for a photographer that you're going to have forever. So go figure. Apparently Beanie Babies are worth more than us. But to your question, Dylan, at the end of the day, you have to keep raising your prices. And so I can't answer your question directly. How do I charge accordingly? Because there is no right price. There is no right answer here. The right price is what people are willing to pay for your work. And this happens in a slow, methodical way. So what you want to do is keep raising your prices $500 every 3 to 4 months. Keep booking a few more weddings, or I'm assuming you're doing weddings, raise your price, raise your price, raise your price. And so I kept raising my price $500 in $500 increments until I couldn't book anymore, until it slowed down. Then I came back down $500, right? So you're going to find that sweet spot on what your market, your client is willing to pay for your work. So I hope that makes sense. Next question comes to us from Davina. How do I transition into booking higher prices? Davina, raise your prices. You know how I feel about this. Just do it. There is no transition. This goes for all of you out there. The minute you raise your prices, you are going to break free of your old client base. So the clients that can afford you before can't afford you now. The key to raising your prices, though, is to have a marketing plan in place. If you just walk away from this and go, Sal told me to raise my prices, I'm going to raise my prices. If you just walk away and do that, you're going to fail. It's going to happen because you have to have a marketing plan behind it. So when I raise my prices, I want to make sure that I'm marketing towards my new client base. If I'm not marketing towards my new client base and my old client base can't afford me, you're going to go into panic mode because you're going to go, the phone's not ringing. No one's booking us. Of course they're not, because you're marketing to the wrong client. Hopefully this makes sense. You have to have a marketing plan together to the new client base, then raise your prices. And it's going to take some time, but keep doing that until you hit your sweet spot, until, like I just told Dylan, keep raising your prices until you can't raise them anymore. I want to make as much money as I can possibly make every wedding. So should you. All right, next question comes to us from Ryan. Should I spend more time marketing or more time shooting and editing? Ryan, listen, you put shooting and editing together and it's wrong. Here's where you should spend your time. Marketing, shooting. Those are the only two things that are going to make you money. Editing, color correction, they do not. If you haven't heard it already, check out Evolve Edits. That's my company. We outsource post-production for you. We have monthly plans, things for you to throw it over the wall to us. Let us handle all the color correction or whatever company you want to work with, and find a way to let somebody else handle it. But you, as the CEO, as the primary photographer, as the chief marketing officer, you should not be doing editing. It is monkey work. Color correction is monkey work. And this goes for every photographer out there. Guys, stop complicating your life. I know you believe that no one knows how to edit but you, and you're the best editor on the planet, but I got news for you. None of us really are that good. No one cares how much magenta, how much green, how much blue is in a shot. You know who cares? Us, because we're obsessive compulsive. We're the only ones who focus on these things. Our clients can, I've never had a wedding client come in and be like, there's a little too much magenta in that image. It never happens. It's never going to happen to you. So let it go. Start focusing on marketing and advertising and shooting. That's what people care about. So don't get me started. All right. Adrian, this question comes, what can you do to enforce your contract if a client deliberately breaches your contract they've signed? You've got, the main option is you can take him to court. That is the #1 thing you can do, or the threat of legal action. Most people don't want to go to court, and most things don't go to trial. This is just like statistics. It never makes it to trial. People end up settling out of court because going into full-blown trial is going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars. And so you need to, Addie, make friends with an attorney so that you can serve up, when needed, that notice for breach of contract. And so my attorney, we have trouble, he serves up that breach of contract, maybe it costs me a few $100. 9.5 out of 10 times, people get right back in line with the contract because their attorney, that they now have to go hire, is telling them, you signed a contract, you need to honor that contract. So that's the easiest way to do it. And then, of course, don't let it escalate to that point. Just have a conversation with them. That, guys, we have a contract. I'm hoping you're going to honor what you committed to so that we don't have to take this any further, and it'll just save frustration on both sides. That would be my first step in all this. So I don't want to see you just jump into legal action. Have a conversation with people first. Resolve it, you know, like two adults. But if that doesn't work, sometimes it's got to go that route. And unfortunately, we've had that happen a few times. Next question comes to us from Laura. What is the best way to build a business if my full-time job requires me to move every 3 to 4 months? Laura, you're going to have a nightmare of a time establishing a business. Look, people want to do business with established businesses, reputations, branding. I don't know how you're going to do that if you're literally moving every 3 to 4 months. So the truth is, I wish I had good news for you, but you're going to have a really one hell of a time getting this business started, because by the time you start getting even remotely established, you're moving again. High school seniors, forget it. It's out of the question. And especially if you're looking for people who see photography as a priority. If they see photography as a priority, they're looking for that established brand, that trusted brand, and you're not giving yourself a chance to be successful. So Laura, I'm assuming your family's military, and maybe you're moving around the country like that, and it's unfortunate, but I don't know how to help you here. I wish I had better news. I'm so sorry. Next question comes to us from Kyle. Where should a first-year business invest a majority of their sweat equity? That is a really good question. Here's the thing. Where do you want to be? Wherever you want to be, Kyle, that's where you have to invest your time. And so you're going to find that as you're growing your business, time is like squirrel, right? You're going to be pulled every million different directions. And so you've got to figure out, where do you want to be? So Kyle, my question to you is, what's your 30, 60, 90-day plan? What's your 1-year plan? What's your 5-year plan? Oh, you don't have that? Well, then you don't know where to spend your sweat equity. So you've got to figure out where you want to be. That's where your sweat equity has to go, towards getting to that. Anything that gets you closer to your goal, that's where your sweat equity should be. If it's just something that you think might be fun, like if you want to be a wedding photographer and you're like, you know, glamour photography seems like a lot of fun. No, it's not getting you any closer to your goal. Only work on things that are getting you closer to your goal, right? So common sense has to prevail on stuff like this, and that goes for all of us. There's always things that are distracting, that seem like fun, and they are fun, don't get me wrong, but they're not getting us any closer to our goal. So we've got to figure out a way to focus on that. All right. Next question comes to us from Addie. How can you identify a real opportunity that will genuinely help your business grow versus someone who's just out to take advantage? That is a really good question as well. This happens to us all the time. Just here in our local market, I get calls from people, hey, you know, we've got this great opportunity. We've got this great opportunity. But really, how does it benefit me? And you have to start thinking like a business owner. You have to be selfish. How does this benefit me? There's nothing wrong with asking that question. And if you can't come up with a way it's benefiting you, then more than likely you're being taken advantage of. Yes, there's some things we should do that are tied to networking, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, how are things benefiting you and your business to get you closer to that plan, right, that we were just talking about? How am I getting closer to my plan? So you need to be a little more selfish. That's how you know. And if you're taking advantage of them and they're taking advantage of you, it's a match made in heaven. All right, next question comes to us from Casey. How do you deal with consistency and quality performance with employees? Casey, I don't know that you're going to like my answer. I believe in a philosophy of hire fast, fire fast. And so I've got a lot of years of experience in management and in just growing my own team. And every time I've not trusted my gut instinct, it has bit me in the ass. It's that simple. When my gut tells me this person is not going to work out, there's no reason to coach them. You just got to let them go. Cut and run. Because ultimately you're wasting your time. You're allowing this employee to impact your business in a negative way, and it ultimately starts costing you tens of thousands of dollars. So the minute you know in your heart, and you know what I'm talking about, all of you do, when you know in your heart that this person is not a fit in your organization, let them go. There's no point in continuing on because it's never going to get better. They are, as employees, who they are going to be. You are who you are as an employer. Those two things, they either jive or they don't. Now, there's certain things I look for in my team members. They have to have certain traits, certain qualities. But then there's just people who either, let's call them lazy. They just don't fit the organization. If they're lazy, you're never going to make them not lazy. If they're cutting corners, it's going to be very difficult to teach them not to cut corners. It's just inherent to who they are. Trust your gut, always. All right, next one comes to us from Linda. What's the main difference between giving copyright versus printing rights? That's actually a really interesting question. So we never give away copyright. We give shared copyright. This allows them to print. So you're kind of convoluting a couple of different topics here. Let's say you're a commercial photographer. You're going to give certain use rights to those images, right? So if I'm shooting, let's say to a magazine. If I'm shooting for a magazine, I'm going to give them use rights. I still own the copyright. I created the image. It's my time, unless they paid me for that, and then in the contract they own the copyright. But typically that's not the case. So if you own the copyright, you're now giving them use rights. In those use rights, you can say, hey, you can use it on a website, you can use it in print, you can only use it for 90 days. You can actually control how long they can use it. Think about it. Do you really want an organization pay you $100, and now they turn that image into the face of the company, and this becomes a $1 million company? You made $100 on that image, and now that image is seen all around the world. Now, who knows if you're going to photograph for the next Coca-Cola, the next FedEx, or whatever the case may be, but you understand that point. In your copyright release, an average one where you're dealing with normal clients, families, babies, seniors, weddings, that kind of stuff, you're usually issuing a shared copyright release with specific use. Print up to 8x10s, friends and family only. In my contracts, it states clearly those images cannot be used in any commercial way, shape, or form. So I do not want my bride submitting my images to the Knot. I do not want my bride submitting my images to Style Me Pretty. Not because I don't want the publicity, but because I want to control what images are going up there. I may not like the images they're selecting. They may not represent my brand. Maybe I want to do more beauty editing to those images before they make it up there. See what I'm saying? So you want to control that in your copyright. All right. Next question comes to us from Gary. What's the best way to handle multiple wedding inquiries for a single day as a one-person operation? So Gary, if you start finding yourself getting multiple wedding requests, you can do what I did. I made Taylor, my wife, become a wedding photographer. So she was my second shooter, and I got tired of turning away weddings, and so I forced her to step up and be a primary shooter. And so now we can do at most two weddings per day. But let's say that's just not in the cards for you. As these wedding requests are coming in, you need to make it clear, use it to your advantage, that you're a one-man show. Now you got to be careful because you're going to come across really salesman, right? I only got one date, I got a lot of inquiries in it. That just sounds like used cars salesman all over it. And so what you want to do is when you're communicating with people is let them know, hey, when you're booking Gary, I'm the only photographer here. I am the senior photographer. What you see is what you get. I'm an artist, and I'm going to be there on your day. So please understand that once you know you want to work with us, this is how I would close. Once you know you want to work with me, secure your date so we know we're working together. You could always pick a package at a later date. That's how I would run it. That's how we run it today in our studio. Last question comes to us from Mary. How do you know when to hire, when to outsource, what to outsource? Do I have enough business revenue to do it now, et cetera, et cetera? So, Mary, I'm here to tell you that at the end of the day, things happen very quickly in the world of business. And sometimes it's a chicken and egg thing. And you know, when it comes to what to focus on, outsourcing should absolutely be let go immediately because you will never grow if you don't let go of that. And so by outsourcing editing, you're now guaranteeing 2-week turn time. Your clients are going to be happy. They're going to refer you more. You can shoot more. And now you can start marketing because you have more money to do marketing and advertising. And this whole thing starts going. If you don't have enough money to afford outsourcing, start charging more immediately so that you can at least break even on the outsourcing. Other things I would outsource, accounting, bookkeeping, right? You can get a bookkeeper for $12 an hour, $15 an hour. Very inexpensive to pay a bookkeeper to keep track of this. That is one mistake I made when we were growing. We were keeping track of all our receipts. We were doing our own bookkeeping because we wanted to cut corners. I fell 3 years behind in taxes. So 2008, 2009, 2010, I didn't pay taxes. I got penalized by the IRS unbelievable amounts of money because of that. And I only fell a year behind, but then they couldn't complete 2010 because 2010 was waiting on 2009. 2011 was waiting on 2010 and was waiting on so it was this domino effect that got me into trouble. And when it was all said and done, it was penny wise, pound foolish. I should have just let go of it from the beginning. And so if you're just starting out, you always think, I don't have enough money to do it, but I'm telling you, you can't afford not to do it. So I hope that makes sense. Again, everyone, great questions. Keep them coming in. Grow your business. Get out there, shoot, practice, and keep at it because ultimately we have the best jobs in the world. We'll talk to you soon.